of women during this phase, because you have so much anxious thoughts, you want to make sure that you're getting as much of that out of your system as possible instead of leaving it in your head, because that can make you go insane and make you feel burnt out and feeling like put you in the survival mode of like constantly being on this high alert because you go from one thought to the next. Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time here. My name is Sandra, and on this channel we talk about all things inner work, healing fearful avoidant attachments, and healing out of survival mode. And for today's video, we are going to be talking about your menstrual cycle and how this can actually be impacting your fearful avoidant attachment and the things that you feel towards your partner, the things that you feel inside, how your needs change, and how you can support yourself better during the different phases of your cycle. So if you're a man, this video might not be for you, but you can also watch this to support your partner to know what they need during different phases of their cycle. But let's get right into this video. So the reason that it is so important for you as a woman to know what's going on with your cycle is because your hormones are constantly changing during different phases of your cycle, and that impacts your mood, and it impacts the way that you show up, it impacts your energy levels, it impacts your sex drive, it impacts how you see your partner, how attracted you are to them. It really changes everything. And with a fearful avoidant attachment, during the luteal phase, that becomes even more heightened. And oftentimes that can trigger fearful avoidance, even if they have healed. It can cause anxiety, and oftentimes fearful avoidance may fall back into old patterns. So I want to share this and have this as a resource here so that you don't feel like you are falling back, you feel like you are regressing and you're not healing. I want to share this as a resource so you know that this is natural, this is normal. We as women do not operate on a 24-hour cycle like men do. A lot of things in today's society are built on that 24-hour cycle that men go through throughout the day, the circadian rhythm. But for women, that cycle lasts 30 days on average, which is your menstrual cycle. I want to also insert in here that everything that I share is going to be something that you have to experiment with and test in your own body. This is not always accurate for every single woman. So test this out for yourself and see if this is true for you, because everything that I'm sharing is something that I have learned over time, but also that I've experimented with in my body. So all of these things that I'm sharing are based on my body and my experiences and everything that I've learned. So take everything that I share with you, test it out with your body, cycle after cycle. And you want to start out by tracking your cycle. So you can use apps like MyFlow or Moody. The one that I use is Moody. That's the only one I've used, and I'm not really sure if there is a big difference. It's mostly about just being aware of where you're at in your cycle. I think there is like additives that you can also get with the app, but I don't do any of that. I just mostly use these apps to track my cycle, to know where I'm at and when to expect my period to start. And so to start off, the first phase is going to be your menstrual phase, which is when you are bleeding. So during your menstrual phase, you may feel a bit down. A lot of your hormones are at a low level and you want to rest. You're not really going to have a lot of energy. And this is pretty intuitive because as women, we feel exhausted during this time. We just feel like we are sore in our uterus. At least that's how it's felt for me. Like I've felt sore in my uterus because your body is doing so much work and it is shedding that uterine lining. That can be a lot for the body. So it makes so much sense, intuitive sense, that your body needs to rest during this time. But because we live in this society that's based on always being productive, living on this 9-to-5 schedule, it is not built around a woman's body's needs. So a lot of the time we just take all of these pills to kind of get through the day if we have to work, and we kind of ignore our body's needs. And this is not even common knowledge. A lot of the time women don't even know how to support themselves during different phases of the cycle, but that is going to change with this video. So what I want you to do overall is use these apps to track your cycle so that you can plan your month based on your cycle, instead of overscheduling yourself or making plans to hang out with friends or giving a presentation when you know your period is coming at a specific date. This helps you work better with your energy. So let's say that you have tracked your cycle and for the most part you know that your period comes around at a specific time. You want to avoid scheduling presentations and going out with friends, scheduling, like you want to make this a time where it's just about you going inward and reflecting. Think about the menstrual phase as a time that you just go inward and reflect on everything that has happened throughout the month and how you want to move forward. So it is mostly about planning things. It's not about doing anything. It's mostly about rest. So as a fearful avoidant, this might bring up a lot of old wounds. Because your hormones are so low, a lot of the time you might feel on edge, you might feel very emotional, you might feel like you're not attracted to your partner, you might feel like maybe those avoidant patterns are coming up, but they're not really avoidant patterns. It's your body's natural way of telling you this is your time to go inward and to sit with yourself. So don't feel like, oh my gosh, like my old tendencies are coming back, I'm pulling away, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm pushing my partner away, I'm not attracted to them. That is not what is happening. That is actually just your body's natural way of telling you this is a time to focus on what is going on internally and to retreat. Think of it as winter. In the winter, we go indoors because the weather is so cold outside. We nourish ourselves. It is a time of reflection. It is a time of hibernation, and we take care of ourselves in the winter. We rest, and then we get ready for the next phase of our cycle, for the spring to bloom, to blossom. So think about this as a preparation period. There's nothing for you to do here. It is mostly about reflection, maybe planning for the next phase of your cycle. And when you notice those tendencies to pull away from your partner, know that that is okay, and those are just your hormones redirecting you to pull your energy back inward and to reflect. Moving from the menstrual phase, which lasts about 1 to 5 days or 1 to 7 days, this is going to be different for everybody. And also everything that I am mentioning for these phases, it is mostly not going to be the same feelings throughout that entire phase. So for me, in the menstrual phase, in the beginning, the first 2 days, I really just want to rest. I don't want to do anything. I don't feel like dressing up. I just want to wear sweats. I just want to relax. I just want to watch my favorite show or maybe plan or reflect. I just want to sit and rest. But this doesn't mean that this is how I feel for the next few days. So actually after day 2, I get such a wind of energy and I get like really in the mood to dress up, to do my makeup. And even though I'm still in that menstrual part of my phase, I still get that urge to dress up. And it's maybe because I've been sitting for so long that I'm like, okay, like I've rested now, I've actually taken care of my body, and now I'm ready to actually just go out there, dress up, look cute. I feel so much energy to actually be creative and do the things that I want to do because I took care of my body. So I want to also emphasize that if you do not take care of your body, if you do not give it that rest, then you're not working with your body, you're kind of working against it, and you may not experience those same things. But when you take care of your body and you rest, those days when your body's telling you like, I need this time, I need to reflect, I need to rest, I just need to relax. When you follow this, your body naturally just goes and moves into the next phase without you feeling like you're burned out because you didn't take care of yourself. So then moving into the next phase, which is your follicular phase. And this is going to be day 6 to 14 roughly. And in this phase, your hormone estrogen is rising up. So you're going to feel more creative, you're going to feel more energetic, optimistic. You're going to feel this new sense of energy that feels so different in contrast to what you experienced in your menstrual phase. Because in your menstrual phase, you felt like you just wanted to rest, you just wanted to crash, you wanted to sleep all day. So moving into this energy feels re-energizing in a way. And you can think of this as the spring, moving into the spring. It kind of has this like fresh new energy of like blossoming, things blooming, new ideas, brainstorming, creativity, all of these things. And you are probably going to feel like you're on cloud 9. You're going to feel like you have all the energy in the world to do the things that you want to do. This is when you want to move your body in an intense way because you have the energy during this phase to do that. If you're working on any projects, you want to save that creative part, the brainstorming part, for this part of your cycle. You want to follow through also in this part of your cycle. So this is kind of different for everybody. I've heard other people say that you want to follow through on projects during the ovulatory phase. For me, the follicular and the ovulatory phase, which is right after this one, both just a time where I get so much creative ideas, brainstorming, and I'm able to follow through with so much more ease because my hormones are supporting me in doing that. Whereas if I'm trying to take action and have this clear-headed space and creativity in my luteal or menstrual phase, or at least beginning part of my menstrual phase, I find myself struggling with that. So for me, the follicular phase is like a time for brainstorming, go all in on a project. If I had to choose one word to describe this phase, it would be create, create, create. And that a lot of the time, that is pretty much what you think of when you think of spring. There is just constant creation of flowers blooming and blossoming. The bees are pollinating and they are coming out. So when I think of this follicular phase, I think of brainstorming, creativity, and being able to follow through on the things that you reflected on in the menstrual phase. And before I move on to the next phase, I want to say that I actually have a guide that goes in so much deeper on this. It tells you what kind of foods to eat during these different parts of your cycle, what kind of movements to do during these parts of your cycle, since you have different levels of energy. So you want to learn how to support your body better so that you're not neglecting your body and saying, oh, I don't have the energy, I'm just not going to work out. You just haven't found the right way to move during that part of your cycle, or you haven't found the right foods to eat during that part of your cycle. So instead of just self-sabotaging and eating like junk food during your luteal phase, you want to learn what actually works for your body so that you can work with it. So the guide to that will be linked down below, that goes so much deeper into this than this video will. And it will also have fearful avoidant insights on what to look out for during these different phases of your cycle so that you are better able to support yourself instead of self-sabotaging your relationship because of those different changes that are happening throughout your cycle. Moving on to the next phase, which is your ovulatory phase. For the ovulatory phase, it is very short. It's going to be day 14 to 17 roughly. It's going to be the peak of testosterone and estrogen, which cause you to be in like a really social mood, that cause you to have this really high energy where you just feel like you're on top of the world. You can do anything. And you feel so confident and magnetic. You just feel like you own the world, like nothing could ever stop you. And during this time, a lot of fearful avoidants actually can tend to overcommit to things, not realizing that the next part of their phase, their hormones are going to be at a very low level. And they're going to feel irritable, might feel anxious, they may experience all of these things because of changes in their hormones, and they may overcommit because they have such high energy from being in this phase and from the changes from their hormones in this phase. But I really want to encourage you to plan your calendar according to these different changes. So that's the reason I say you want to track your cycle, understand what's going on in these different phases as you move throughout the month. Because when you don't know when your luteal phase is, which is when you'd be irritable, and when you have the most high confidence, then you don't really know what to plan what. For example, let's say you create content for a living like I do for YouTube for you guys. And I'm not saying don't do anything in your menstrual phase. Like, we obviously all have responsibilities and we can't always just work based on our menstrual cycle, but you want to follow it as much as possible. So if you have a presentation to give, for example, for me, I am a part of Toastmasters, which is a community where you practice public speaking with other people. So for me to plan a speech, I would plan it around my menstrual cycle, and I would plan it in either my follicular phase or my ovulatory phase, because that is when I'm going to feel the most confident. That is when I'm going to feel the most magnetic and have this high energy. And when I feel confident, I know I'm going to perform really well. Whereas when I'm feeling down and my body's telling me to rest and to take time to go internally instead of being out there and putting my energy out there and focusing on external things, then I'm not going to do my best. That is an example of how you can learn to support yourself by understanding your cycle. And I also want to say that if you want to socialize with friends or plan a big trip and do all of these things, this phase is also when you want to do it. So is the follicular phase. If you want to plan a trip, do something new, go on an adventure, you want to plan it during either of these cycles. And then for the next part, it's going to be your luteal phase. And this is actually when a lot of fearful avoidants get triggered. It is when a lot of women tend to feel just like this irritability, these anxious thoughts. They tend to just feel low in mood and they are not attracted to their partner. Maybe you feel sore in different parts of your body, very low libido during this part of your phase. This is when your hormone progesterone will go up and then will come crashing down. And this is when you start to get all those food cravings and you want to eat junk food and you feel hungry all the time and you just feel like nothing can even satiate you. You feel like you could literally eat everyone around you, probably. I'm exaggerating so much, but literally I could eat like 4 to 5 meals during my luteal phase, and I try to keep my protein and fat intake really high during this phase because it is a phase where your body needs a lot more energy. It needs a lot more complex carbs. So having things that are going to satiate you and feel good and nourish your body are going to save you from wanting to eat that junk food and grabbing all of these things that are not serving your body and are just kind of not even filling your body up. You're going to feel like you want to keep eating more and more of those things because they're not actually satiating. They're not created to even make you feel full or to feel satiated in any way. But eating the right foods is going to help you with that so that you're not constantly sabotaging yourself and eating junk food. Because your hormones are at such a low level and you don't feel that great, you want to avoid making really big decisions. And this is actually when a lot of fearful avoidants may be unattracted to their partner. They may feel these anxious thoughts and they feel tempted to make a decision from those feelings, based on those feelings. But I really want to encourage you to make those decisions more in your follicular or in your ovulatory phase. You don't want to make any big decisions that you may regret. If you want to learn more about why fearful avoidants make decisions based on their feelings, watch my last video, which I can link also down below. For a lot of women during this phase, because you have so much anxious thoughts, you want to make sure that you're getting as much of that out of your system as possible instead of leaving it in your head, because that can make you go insane and make you feel burnt out and feeling like put you in the survival mode of like constantly being on this high alert because you go from one thought to the next. What you want to do is use a journal to brain dump your thoughts. You can use a journal like the one that I created, which is specifically for fearful avoidance. I don't think I've actually showed this to you guys in a video before, but this is what the brain dump pages look like. So it's literally just like you expressing what's on your mind. And it has a second page, and then it has journal prompts, and then it has like daily trackers too. I feel like this can be really helpful actually during your menstrual phase, especially during your luteal phase when you feel overwhelmed and you may enter survival mode. This helps a lot because it kind of helps you set intention for the day, get clear, kind of brain dump everything out of your mind. And it also has nervous system regulation tools that you can use to bring yourself back to a centered place. So especially when you feel anxious and you have all this energy up in your head and you're kind of like up here and you're like, you can't bring yourself back down. It has the tools for that to ground you, to bring you back down so you don't feel like, oh my God, I can't relax. I can't even sit in my chair. Like I just feel so overwhelmed. It has the tools to help you with that. So I honestly can't say enough good things about this, but you can also just do that in your own journal, brain dump, get all of these things out of your head. If there is anything that you want to plan, you want to also plan it during this phase. It's funny because I don't know if a lot of women also feel this, but for me during this phase, I feel this urge to clean a lot. Like, I just want to clear out my space. Like I'm actually in my luteal phase right now. And yesterday I spent a good part of the night where I got this spike of energy and I just wanted to clean. And it happens every single month where I just feel like this urge to clean different parts of my house. I'm not saying like it has to be deep cleaning, but I just really feel like cleaning different parts of my house, my environment, my bedroom, the kitchen, like it's just random. I don't know why this happens, but I want to know down in the comments if you guys also feel this as well. You've already been tracking your cycle. So that is everything that I have for today's video. Again, the full guide will be linked down below and it has way more in-depth information about this. So it'll help you know how to move, what to eat, all the different patterns that show up and why they show up, and how to better support yourself during these different parts of your cycle. I would love to hear your insights in the comments down below. And if you have any questions or anything that I didn't go over but you want to hear more about, please leave it in the comments down below. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.